Hello everybody, I'm here with my 2019 Husqvarna FE 250. The objective of this video is to replace this rear fender and light assembly. So those who are familiar with these the KTM and the Husky models that have this fender and light assembly know that this is clunky, it's ugly. It flaps all over the place when you're riding on washboards or relatively rough terrain. Mine actually has cracked right here. I've broken the lens off one of the side blinkers here. The objective is to replace this. I did go to the dealership and ask them what they typically do, and what they suggested was purchasing this model, this piece right here. It's actually from Husqvarna itself. This is the, what do they call this unit? There's a Slim Taillight Kit, the rear light EU, the number plate carrier backlight. I'll put the part numbers in the video, but it's a assembly that I think they told me normally you find stock on the TC300 from Husqvarna. So I purchased it. There's another little piece that comes with it, another black piece, and then the actual taillight assembly is about half the size of the existing. So I got these pieces, and then I also purchased a set of the Tusk, these mini LED lights, to replace the blinkers on the rear end here. So the objective of the video is to replace this, see how easy it is, and then see how it looks when it's all done. And just to show real quick what I was talking about earlier is on my the rear fender. You can see right here it's cracked. It's cracked on this side right here, all the way along there. That's broken. So what I found when I was riding this the other day is my the back fender kept hitting the back tire. As I was riding down the road, I could hear it just keep knocking on that. So for starters, there are a few bolts in here that need to be removed. So if these have a T27 head on them. So let's take all these out. There's 4 that I can see so far. Haven't fully scoped out everything that has to be done to replace this. Again, I haven't found any videos online of people who have used this particular replacement. I've seen some that have used the, I think they have the sick-ass fender replacement kit. A lot of people complain about that, though, saying that it's not very sturdy. Actually, one guy did, I think, did replace his with the Husqvarna model and said that it was pretty solid. Now let's see how we get this off. Oh, okay. The whole thing comes off with the white piece as well. Once you take those 4 bolts out, you can see the whole thing comes off here. Okay, we got these 4 pieces under here that are 6 millimeter. So let's take these 4 off. All right. Let's see if that comes apart now. There we go. Okay, there's our connectors right there when you take apart. Looks like these have colored tape on them. One's red, one's green. Take some pictures of those. And those look like those go to the, actually these other ones must be for the side blinkers. One of them's going to be for the license plate light. And then I think the three middle ones here go to the actual taillight assembly. So looks like that piece just pops out like that. Well, that would have been easier if I had done that first. All right, there's the taillight assembly. These three leads, of course, are going to be easy to disconnect because they've got these quick disconnects on them. The one to the tail light, however, has no disconnect on it. You have to follow the wire all the way up. It goes into this plastic housing here, which, you know, I've taken off my seat, I've taken off my side panels to see where that goes, and it's still somewhere up in this housing. So now I have to figure out how to get into here so I can disconnect that tail light and reconnect the new one. You see the length of that cord and the connector type on that. So now I just got to figure out how to get into here. All right, this is turning out to be more of a pain than I had hoped. That tail light assembly and that cable that runs up into this plastic housing that you can't really get to easily or at all from the other side, from the air filter compartment. Even taking out all these panels underneath the fender well doesn't really give you good access to it. You can actually see where it comes out. I took the battery out, so the battery's hanging over the side here, and then you can see this plastic assembly here, and it's like this whole assembly around here. So it's not like you can just get this piece out. And it's got the solid wall on this side, and then underneath it, between that and down through here, is where that wire comes out, and here is the connector for it. Let's see, right here. This one right here. So I can unplug this, easily pull this one out, but then I'm going to have to feed the other one through this little channel and back up here to the connector. So, and that wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. I just pulled the old light unit out, took the new cable assembly for the new one. I actually just tucked it down in that hole there and just pushed it along. There's kind of like a channel in there. Pushed it along, and it popped its head out back here, and I just pulled it up and hooked it up. So hopefully that is the most difficult part. So I'm just going to tuck that back down in there, scoop my battery back in, hook my battery cover back on, and then move to the next stage. Okay, at this point, I'm just trying to kind of see how things are going to go together before I try to put them together. You've got the tail light assembly, then this little black plastic piece here. It actually fits up underneath the larger black piece, so it's going to sit underneath that, and that's what's going to hold up the tail light assembly, as well as there are, I don't know if you can see that here, screw holes on the back here that are going to screw into the back of the tail light also. And there's some little tabs here that slide into that. So that's how it's ultimately going to go in. Then you'll see there's also kind of a channel right here for tucking the wires in. So that, and also the blinker and the license plate light, which don't really have not going to have a license plate light at this point. Those also need to be fed up through this channel here. What I'm trying to decide at this point in time is, so now before I put everything together, of course, we're going to have to drill some holes into the side of this unit here for the rear blinkers. And these are the Tusk L.E.D blinkers, so they're going to go kind of like this on here. There's just a screw right there. But what I need to do is figure out how to take my black and red leads here and connect them up, because you have these type of quick connectors on the bike side. So what I want to do is take apart the old rear blinkers, salvage this wire, see if I can just splice this into the red and white wires of my Tusk lights, so that I can reuse these quick connectors. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this apart, See if I can connect those up to my new Tusk lights. Okay, so I removed from the old fender piece here the washers and everything for the light, the blinkers. And then I took off the lens cover, took out the bulb, and now you can see the wires inside. All I'm doing here is disconnecting. It's hard to do with one hand. Disconnecting these leads. There's one. There's the other. Okay. So I pulled those off. All right, now I should be able to use that to hook up to my Tusk lights. Okay, got an update here. You can see it's now daylight, whereas before it was dark. I got too tired and had to go to bed, so it's next day. I'm working on the electrical connector stuff, and so what I've got is I took the old rear blinker lights. And here's my Tusk lights now. And I took this cable that came off of them with that snap connector that connects to the bike. And I stripped off the other end, which basically is what these look like stock right here. These little connectors. And then I got some snap connectors. Put those on, and then I did some heat shrink wrap around it because I wanted this part to be stronger, because this is the connector I want to keep. So that's what we've got. I've got that, and then on the Tusk light side, so here's with the first Tusk light. They come out of the box with just bare wire, and then I took the other piece, the male piece of the those snap connectors, and I put those on here. I haven't put any shrink wrap on these yet, but I intend to. But that's it. I did hook it up to the bike just to make sure that my blinkers would work. I did notice they blink fast, so I am going to need to get a relay to bring that blinker speed down to normal, since they're LED as opposed to traditional bulb type. Alright, I put the shrink tubing on the Tusk light side now. So I've got that ready to go. Putting that on reminded me of Shrinky Dinks. You guys remember Shrinky Dinks? I think you put them in the oven. I remember those as a kid. Alright, before I start hooking anything up, you gotta figure out how to mount the Tusk LED blinkers onto the stock Husqvarna piece here for the rear light housing assembly. So what we're going to want to do is, I want that edge of the blinker to butt up against this little edge right here, the little beveled part. And then we'll sit kind of like that. But the trick is, I think we're going to have to drill 2 holes in here, because if you look at the back of the Tusk light, there's the center hole here that has that brass insert. That's just the mounting, where the mounting screw goes. Then of course you've got the lead wire too, that's offset by about ½ inch. Can't really stick them through the same hole, so I'm going to have to drill 1 hole for the mounting screw, and another little hole that I can fit my wires through. Maybe I should have done that before I put my ends on. We'll see if I can squeeze those through one at a time, hopefully, without having to completely butcher this thing. So let's try that out and see how it goes. Okay, I drilled my 2 holes. I think next time I'll drill the holes and stick this wire through before I put the ends on, just because you can see here, got my 2 holes. This one, the first hole is for the center support screw, and then the second one is for the wires to go through, which is significantly bigger than this one. I'd like to maintain as much integrity of this piece as possible, but I had to make this hole bigger just so I could get, you know, I got them through one at a time, but to get my 2 connectors through, my wires. So let's hook it up now. Okay, I got the first one on. I totally misjudged that, because I wanted to have this rubber seal piece on the Tusk light to be flush with this little beveled edge on the Husqvarna piece, and I was off by quite a bit. Anyway, I was able to screw it on. So you can see I've got my wire in there now. I've got that screwed down. Looks pretty good. So let's do the other side now. Now before I finish shrink wrapping this second one that I've done, I've shrink wrapped the side of the light, but the connector right there to this piece, I wanted to try them out just to make sure that all my crimps are good and everything's working. So I've got the light hooked up to this lead. The red one happens to be the left blinker, and the wire that came from the factory wrapped with this green electrical tape is, sorry, the right. Right, so what I'm going to do, I've just got it just lightly connected there. My finger in the way. And start the bike. You can see how it starts off blinking real slow. And boom, it starts going fast. So that's an indication that I need that relay. But that works. So I'm going to finish this one off and connect it up to the fender housing. Got the second light on. So I've got those 2 on there. I've kind of tidied it up a bit. Put some electrical tape around my connections. So now I'm left with the 2 original connectors. So what this is going to look like, I find this piece here. So this piece slides into a couple of grooves. Oh, wrong way. It's upside down. It goes this way. Okay, there's a couple of grooves. The tail light actually says top on it. The tail light ultimately gets tucked down in there like that. So I'm gonna have my cables fed through. So now I'm gonna hook this together, mount it back up in there. Use the cable tray along here for the brake light. The tail light's in the cell, so it's going to have to be tucked up in here. Let me do that now. Okay, I'm going to tie this together. So you take this black piece that came with the kit that I purchased. I'm using the original screws that came on the original fender kit, taillight kit, whatever you call its assembly, with a 6mm heads on them. And the back side of that is actually the taillight. There's some holes in the back of the taillight, and so these are screwing into the back of the taillight itself. So that holds the taillight, and then these other 2 holes right here are going to be mounted up underneath the bike. So that's what it kind of looks like at this point. To hook my left and right blinker up. And the right blinker is the green one. Looks like I'm gonna have a lot of excess cable in here to tuck. I could have cut my cables a little bit shorter than I did. Particularly the ones on the Tusk. I didn't want to cut these pigtails that I made with the original, those little snap connectors. I wanted to keep those as long as possible. But the wires from the Tusk lights, I could have, you know, probably chopped another 6 inches or more off that and been good. The third wire here, of course, is the wire that goes to the tail light. Sorry, the license plate light. So I don't have a license plate light, so that's not going to be hooked up. So what I'm going to have to figure out here is, once I put this up there, how I'm going to be able to tuck this in here nicely. Tuck it in here nicely. I said Tusk. Tuck it in here nicely, so I don't have cables exposed underneath my wheel well. Alright, here we are about 2 hours later. Some angry words in my head. And I finally got it back together. That's kind of a pain. I'll tell you, that was kind of a pain to put it back together. Mostly because I did have too much wire. I should have cut the wire from the Tusk lights shorter to kind of match the length of the wires that were hooked up to the old lights before. But they all have to kind of go up in this channel right through here, and then they come out back through here, down through this right here. And getting this whole unit back on, this tucked up tightly with all that excess wire in there, was a challenge. And putting this all together, I found that you kind of assemble the upper fender, the white fender, and this lower black piece first. You kind of put them together first, hooking the, screwing this in down here for the bottom piece of the housing that holds that all in. And once you have this whole assembly, the white and the black pieces together, then you kind of slide this into the back of the bike, and then you're going to be hooking in your 1, it's kind of hard to see, right here, 2, 3, 4, then those hook in. But I had a hard time on this side getting this one and this one in, just because this right here that's supposed to be flush, the black and white pieces together, was not quite flush, just because of the cable that was in there. And I had to kind of poke and push and tweak to get that cable properly in that channel, as well as feed some of it back down through here into this inaccessible area back in here. All right, let's fire up and see if it all works. Excellent. I like. Let's take a look at it outside now. So much cleaner looking than it was. But I almost forgot one thing, and I had to run back to Rocky Mountain ATV to get something. I need a license plate holder. I was thinking that the license plate holder, the stock one, would work with it, and not the case, so went and picked up this from Rocky Mountain ATV. I'm gonna put that on there and then slap my license plate on. See how it looks. Okay, slight change of plans. I originally had purchased this Husqvarna license plate holder to put on here, but after taking apart my old fender and all the pieces on it, that license plate holder that came on that one actually will work, and I think I'm gonna like it better, because this one, despite the fact that it has a million holes in it, you'd have to basically use the center hole up here and these 2 lower holes, just because of the way that the rear piece is shaped here. And it's, I don't know, I just didn't like it so much. But when I put the stock piece on here, I've already drilled the 2 holes, you can see. This lines up nicely. Not only that, What I do like about it on the underside of this is you can see that there are these plastic nubs that are actually angled a little bit, and they're angled to the point that they fit nicely on the edges of this piece. So I don't know if you can see it with the sun and all, but I think they're going to give it a nice little bit of extra support. So I'm going to use the stock license plate holder. In addition to that, I mean, it's a little bit heavier than that piece, but not by much. But it also has reflectors on the side here, so you get that added bit of safety if you plan on riding your bike on the road at night. Able to get it put together with the stock license plate holder. I only ended up drilling the 2 holes, not the 4. It's pretty stable, and I found that because this piece behind here tapers off as you get further down towards the end, to drill the holes right here would put them really close. I probably can't see this because it's dark. It puts it really close to the edge of the lip here, and I don't think I'd be able to get the nut on them. I had a hard enough time getting the nuts on the upper 2, but I don't think I'd be able to on the bottom. I thought about just doing one right here in the middle, which would be a nice secure place. However, I don't have a screw or a nut right now that would be flush enough that it wouldn't poke my license plate up. So I'm just going to leave it like this for now. Maybe later I'll secure a little more. Works perfectly.